Obligatory podcast intro.
Hi, hello, and welcome. This is Flipping Pages with Matt and Adam. I'm Matt with my co-host Adam, and this show is where we take all 33 letters of the alphabet, we put them in a pouch, and we each draw a letter, and then pick a comic that begins with that letter. I don't know his, he does not know mine, and real quick, you can visit us at Instagram and Facebook. Come by and say hi. All right, so what did we get?
I got to pee.
You got to pee?
Yeah, I got to pee.
You want to pause it real quick so you can go pee?
Hilarious. I actually forgot what you got.
Yeah, me too.
Was it an N?
I hope so.
Well, it was,
yeah,
right?
It was
yeah, okay.
Because I read something that started
I
with
wrote
an
it on
N.
the chalkboard, but I haven't looked at it since.
Yeah, no, it was an N.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. How did I forget? Okay, I even know what your name is. Okay. All right, so I decided it's been a while since I did like a mainstream comic. Image is pretty mainstream. So
I feel like they are.
They are. So like
they'd be third place.
yeah,
I feel.
basically they are. So like this
Maybe
is a
dark horse.
I would call this a Marvel comic, but you know what's funny? In the cover, on the cover of the first one, 20th Century Fox Studios has top billing, and at the bottom it says,
"Oh,
in association with Marvel."
when did it come out?
Recently, 2023.
This comic?
Yeah,
recently.
it's like brand new.
Oh, because I guess they still own them technically.
What, the Predator?
Fox.
Fox owns the Predator franchise.
They did own X-Men, right?
Yeah, originally.
So what if they haven't like switched over yet, so they can still make a comic that
I see
that
what
has,
you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just got both their names on it though.
And associate. That's strange.
So this is only a 4-issue little mini series. It came out in 2023. The writer is Benjamin Percy. The artists are Andrea DeVito, Greg Land, and Ken Lashley. And those are just the artists in the first issue. It actually, each issue, I thought it was just the 3 artists throughout the issues.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually like 6 artists. There's
You said
more.
there's 4 issues?
Yeah, there's only 4 issues. So
What's
there's
it called?
Just Predator versus Wolverine.
Predator versus
Wolverine.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
they
cool.
spell out versus.
That's cool.
So it's 4 issues. Like I said, the writer stays the same, I'm pretty sure, throughout it, Benjamin Percy. But like I said, the main artists, at the beginning at least, are Andrea DeVito, Greg Land, and Ken
She
Lashley.
related to Danny.
You would think, right?
Uh-huh.
No, it's spelled different.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come up.
Yep.
So I remembered to I didn't research it, but it's spelled different.
Definitely not related.
Yeah, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different time periods in this 4-issue comic.
In the 4 issues.
So I'm going to say this up front right now. This is one of the most convoluted stories ever.
I'm excited to hear about
Ever. The of course the action in it is dope, of course,
Right.
and the art being different throughout it is dope. Like the time periods, that's where they differentiate between the artists. They are each like taking care of a time period.
Okay.
So the whenever you jump from now, it's like the now Marvel style, and then you jump to a different like 90s. It's more like a 90s style
Okay,
comic.
so that's how they differentiate.
Yeah, that's where they're splitting the artist duties is
Okay.
along time periods. So in between time periods, the artists are different. So like I said, there's like 6 time periods or something. So I think there's like 5 or 6 artists.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I actually am super into that. It kind of almost gives it like an anthology vibe.
Right.
But it also helps you differentiate the mini time periods.
Is it all one long story, or is it just a collection of stories?
Yeah, so it is. It's okay. So I'm just gonna set it up. This is Wolverine meeting a predator in 1900s Alaska. So he was young. He looks like a teenager, basically.
1900s.
Yeah. So like, I'm just gonna start. So the comic starts out with Predator like chasing down Wolverine, who's all like shot up from the plasma caster. His shoulders like gone, and Wolverine's kind of like lamenting about how he's fought this guy for a long time, and how he's really smart and he's as good of a hunter as Wolverine is.
Right.
And then we get the flashback to the first time they meet, which is, it just says Alaska Territory circa 1900. So he was born at 18 something.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he looks like a teenager in this. So he's a teenager. So he's living in Alaska, trapping and living kind of out in the wild, and just living and thriving. So
This would be Bone Claws Wolverine,
yes,
right?
yeah, exactly. So Yaoshua shows up and finds a dead Yaoshua, like kind of frozen in the snow, and I think they're showing that the Native Americans killed him. So I think they're kind of like prey almost.
Yeah.
It's not the same guy. It's obviously not, but it's kind of like that. Like,
Right.
oh, he met up with some Native Americans.
A native, yeah.
And so the Yaoshua or predator that showed up finds the dead Yaoshua, gets some of his gear, and then rolls out and starts like hunting cougars and bears and whatnot. And then this is super not important, so I'm going to go really quick with it. The 1900 side plot is Logan gets hired by this guy to help him save his son that he says was kidnapped. It's a setup. It's a lie to get Wolverine to kill this guy's associates because he couldn't do it. There's too many of them. He couldn't. So he tricked Wolverine into doing it and then shoots him in the back.
Shoots Wolverine.
Yeah, he thinks after Wolverine kills all his comrades or whatever, he shoots Wolverine in the back, and he's like walking to the door, and he's like walking out basically, and he's like, sorry about this, like talking to the dead body basically, and as he's like tipping his hat, a plasma bolt comes through the front door and blows his entire head, upper body off, which is really cool. So the Predator kind of walks in, and he's looking at the guy he just murked, and Wolverine pops up, and they start fighting. So this is their very first encounter. It's 1900s Alaska. So they both like wound each other immediately, and they separate for a second. The Yaoshua uses his med kit and whatnot to help heal.
Is that a predator?
Yeah.
Is that what they're actually called?
Yeah. Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah.
You nerd.
Yeah.
You're a nerd.
I said predator multiple times,
But
right?
you kept saying Yaoshua.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a
Predator.
Nerd.
So like in the movies, every time a predator gets hurt, they use their little med kit and it like helps heal him quicker. So Wolverine runs outside and he's like talking to himself. He's like, yeah, we both have our own ways of healing. We both heal quick, whatever. So like he's like trying to like what is this guy? Who is this guy?
Yeah. What does he want?
This is Wolverine young. He's like 20 or something. I don't know, 30 years old maybe. So like a kid for Wolverine basically. So as they're fighting, Wolverine leads the Predator back to his camp basically, and he camps in the back of a cave that a bear is hibernating in. So that's his like guard dog.
Right, yeah.
Basically,
it's security.
So so he leads him back there, and the bear kind of jumps the Predator and like drags it into the cave, and Wolverine takes the spinning I don't know what the hell. It's almost like a ninja star, but not the round one, but the spiky one that they would throw, and it would cut aliens in half and whatnot. So Wolverine,
glaive?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Kinda.
A throwing glaive?
Yeah, something like that.
Glaive? What is it?
I think it is glaive.
Glaive.
So he like takes one of the Predator's weapons basically, and he walks off. He's like, haha, I won, I'm the best. And then you see the Predator come out of the cave with the bear's head on his in his hand.
Right.
So then how we jump from there to South America many years ago. So this is before the Weapon X adamantium bonding. So pre-adamantium bonding Weapon X. So Team X or whatever they were called with Sabretooth and Maverick.
Right.
The whole crew. They're jumping into South America. So this is like Predator.
Is Deadpool with them?
No. So we got Sabretooth, Wolverine, Maverick, Cruel, and Jackson. Cruel looks like a bat guy. Like his head is kind of like a bat head. And then the chick, I've never seen her before.
No Deathstrike either? Were they second wave?
I don't know, honestly.
I feel like Deathstrike was first wave, but I could be wrong. Lady Deathstrike?
Oh, that was separate. So she let somebody else experiment on her. I don't think it was Weapon X. I think it was like a Yakuza. Oh, okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, sorry.
So you're good. So it's, it's either, I guess it's pre. Yeah, it's pre-bonding. I got it right. So they're jumping into South America to stop a general from running a coup. and it's just like the first Predator movie. Basically, this part is like a
Right,
homage to the
in
first
the
Predator.
jungle.
Yeah, so they show up. Oh God, a bunch of the soldiers we were supposed to kill are already dead. What's going on? But it pops off way faster in this. Cruel gets Predator netted. You know, the net that like kills you or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The Cruel guy gets
Super
immediately
awesome net.
Predator netted and dead. And they look up in the trees, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 Predators in the tree. And they just
you never see them like hunt together in like most of the movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he basically brought backup. This is that same Predator that Wolverine fought in the 1900s. But at this point, Wolverine is been brainwashed and his memory erased so many times, he doesn't know this guy.
Who's this guy?
Yeah,
Who is
exactly.
this guy? Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, he's like, who is this guy? Whatever. They see that there's 5 of them. Somehow Wolverine knows to like throw the thing. Somehow it has something to do with them, which is dumb. That's one of the first dumb things. Yeah, he throws it, and I think it kills that. He kills one of the Predators with the one throw.
Nice.
And murks one of them. The main guy that he was fighting, he has a bear scar, so I'm gonna call him like I'll do bear. The Predator that's been hunting him, we'll call him bear.
Right.
He's got a bear scratches across his mask, so you can tell who he is. All the Predator masks are different. They kind of signify who they are. So he throws the thing. It kills one of the Predators, comes back, and he catches the shit. It's fucking cool. Wolverine does.
Nice.
And, like, he's never used it since then. He doesn't even know where it's from. He just had saved it from before.
Right.
And so it's just silly. It's one of the silly things. And then Sabretooth pulls Jesse Ventura and opens up with the minigun and is just spraying, knocking down trees. When the Predator runs up behind him and spears him with one of their Predators, combi stick, I think is what they call it, spears Sabretooth through the body, and Sabretooth just turns around and he's like, what's up? And then pulls the Predator onto the spear that's still through his body. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, let's see you disappear now or something like that.
Yeah, because Sabretooth's a badass as well.
Exactly. Like, in a lot of ways, more badass than Wolverine.
Especially at this point, right?
Yeah.
Before the adamantium claws, money goes on Sabretooth. He was a beast.
He was. That comic that I read, that Sabretooth 1993 one, in it, they upgrade him. He doesn't get adamantium bones, but they upgrade him in that. So he started being extra badass all the way back in 1993.
So he has had modifications.
Yeah, over time. Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, so the rest of the Team X is running away. So it's like Wolverine, Maverick, and the chick. Jackson or something is what I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Jackson, I think. Jackson. The chick, they're running away because they left Sabretooth. They're like, Sabretooth's down. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
He took one out, so we'll be all right. So they're running away, and then one of the cool little garrote strings comes down and chops Jackson's head off. It pulls her head and
Jackson, no,
pops her. They did not care. And then when her body falls, it's got a bomb on it, so it blows up Wolverine and Maverick. And Maverick's hurt pretty bad. And one of the other Predators, not Bear, comes out, is invisible and is about to murk Wolverine. And Maverick sees him or hears him or whatever and shoots him enough times.
Because Maverick's also pretty cool.
He's a badass. Hell yeah. He shoots him enough times and it kills the Predator, which is one of the few times, if ever, that a Predator gets shot and dies.
It's shot and dies.
From the being shot.
Quickly as well.
And doesn't get back up and continue the fight.
Normally that's not the end of the Predator.
So they run inside. So it's Maverick and Wolverine right now because Sabretooth's outside.
Yeah, he's
whatever.
doing his thing.
So they come inside. They're hiding inside. And they find the general that they were supposed to take out, and they decide
to. Was he just hiding in there too, like under the kitchen table?
They're in a cave. They run into a cave.
Oh, he was in the cave too?
Yeah. Okay. Big, like his army was in the cave. So,
okay.
So I
pictured him like curled up behind a rock.
He's pretty ballsy. He like goes and talks to him. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm the guy you were supposed to kill. We have to work together because those aliens or whatever they are going to mark all of us." And they're like, "Good plan, actually. That makes sense." So they set up like an ambush basically. So the Predators have to get past a bunch of the guards, soldiers and stuff. So the Predators come in and murk a bunch of the soldiers, of course.
yeah.
They have cool shields, like actual metal shields, like in Prey, and they're using it to block a bunch of bullets, which I thought was really cool.
Nice.
So they run up on the soldiers, they murk all the regular soldiers, and they pick up the throwing ninja star or whatever that Wolverine had, and they're like looking at it, and they're like, "What's that?" And then they look around, and the whole place is filled with explosives, and all the explosives go up. And our guys, Wolverine and Maverick, already got out. They're actually getting away in a helicopter right now. So they blow up a temple basically on the last two Predators, Bear and his homie. And Bear crawls out of the rubble.
I bet you
of course.
Bear's not dead yet.
Yeah. And then now we jump to Alberta, Canada, Weapon X facility. So this is after what we just saw. After the showdown in South America or whatever.
Second Bear attack.
Yeah, so this is in Alberta, Canada at the Weapon X facility. This is where I was starting to get pissed. This is when, right after they had bonded him with adamantium and they were starting his training and stuff.
Okay.
So the friggin' Predator somehow knows he's in there, underground, 40 stories or whatever, most secret thing on Earth basically, and somehow Predator knows he's in there. Bear knows he's in there. Bear breaks into probably the most secure facility on Earth pretty easily, like
Predator,
no scratches. Man. He gets it. Yeah, that's how he should be, because all the time Predators always die and always lose because they're like the bad guy usually, right?
Right.
So like in reality, by how badass they are or supposedly are, they shouldn't lose ever.
And we should see them doing cool shit like that.
More cool shit, exactly. So this is where I started getting mad. He rolls up and he finds Wolverine on a table after he got bonded. He's kind of just in a stupor in between training sessions or whatever, basically. And this whole thing is intercut every once in a while with now, which is Wolverine, like I said at the beginning, where he was all shot up and the Predator's chasing around.
Oh, right.
That's
that.
In air quotes, now time.
The
present, yeah. And so it cuts back and forth, and now they're underwater, fighting underwater. And that scene's pretty cool. So that's why I mentioned it. I've just been
them fighting.
It. Yeah,
they give up all the sneaky stuff and just start fist fighting.
Yeah,
each
basically.
Other. See, that is cool.
It
would devolve to that because Predators probably never had anyone fight him with the same kind of skills,
style,
Wolverine, style.
Yeah,
maybe a xenomorph, but they're not like
he's
Wolverine.
way smarter than
exactly.
So so he's laying on the table in a stupor, like a drug induced stupor, and the Predator looks at the monitors and he's touching the monitors and looking around, and he takes his badass wrist gauntlets and he cuts open Wolverine's chest and looks at the metal inside of him, and he's like, "Ooh, this is really cool.
I want some."
He was like, "This is really cool." And as he's doing that, Wolverine wakes up and stabs him the Hollywood shot, so the upper shoulder, where somehow you magically don't get really that hurt. You just get stabbed there and you're fine.
You can get shot up there 1,000 times.
Yeah, and you'll be fine. Apparently,
you're fine.
So as he's stabbing
important up here.
Stabbing the Predator, he grabs the wrist so he can't stab him some more. And you know how the Predators have that super badass acid that's kind of like Xenomorph, more badass than Xenomorph acid. He dumps it into Wolverine's screaming mouth.
Oh my god.
So his head, it shows not only a panel or two, it's only 2 panels, shows his face melting away to just a metal skull under
cool
it.
As shit.
Kind of looks like a Terminator almost.
Yeah.
But all his flesh is still there. So the Predator grabs him and is like, "I want this. This is the ultimate trophy.
Yeah.
I'm taking him." So he gets out of the Weapon X base, gets back to his ship, and he's about to take off. And right before he takes off, in the little speech boxes in the corners, it's I don't know what you would think, but international secret program to make the most insane weapons program and effective weapons program is going to have high security. You can't just grab a weapon and expect nothing to happen. And he's in his ship, and 2 F-16s come in and start launching missiles at his ship to try to get Wolverine back. The guy on the radio says, "What are we going to do? What should we do?" or whatever. He goes, "You do whatever you can to get that weapon back. He's worth more than 2 fleets of F-16s or something is what he
Yeah.
said. So they go in, they're trying to shoot the Predator ship. It's not working. So it's flying up into space.
Got a shield on it.
Yeah,
Little-
basically.
yeah.
So it's flying up into space, and for whatever reason, Wolverine wakes up and starts healing now, and he says, "Oh, I don't remember any of this, but putting it together from bits and pieces of this and information, and I must have gotten awoken by the missile hits. It's like hitting a hornet's nest. You just can't do that. I must have cut my way out of the ship." So he like shows him like cut his way out of the ship with like no eyes or like one eye, and like he's supposed to be in berserker dumb mode, and somehow he knows to cut through the ship, and he jumps out of the ship that's like in space basically,
Yeah.
and he falls all the way back to Earth, which is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That's super cool. But in the fight, the Predator dropped its mask. The bear dropped his mask, the one with the scratches on it. And I don't know if you remember. Do you remember the Weapon X helmet?
Yes.
So that's they imply or not imply. They say that that's where they got that technology.
Oh,
because
so
remember
that's
in it he saw
covered in wires.
in heat vision
Uh-huh.
in the actual Weapon X comic when he wears that helmet. He sees in heat vision. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
So that's a perfect way to connect the
That's
two.
awesome.
That's genius. That's
Yeah.
So like this whole part, I was very mad about.
So that means, yeah, instead of inserting it in, it did happen.
Yeah.
Like, basically.
Yeah, so that I was psyched about this ending, like, oh, this is where they got the technology from. The rest of that little time period story where he comes and drops the acid, I just did not. It was just so silly and contrived, and
Yeah.
it actually kind of bothered me a little bit. I was like, this is dumb.
But the mask being the helmet that save it for a second.
Say what?
Did
Oh,
that
yeah,
save
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
That part, it did save it.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah, yeah. And the art in it is dope. It's different than all the other art, for sure. It's noticeably different.
That one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All the other ones are kind of similar-ish. So now we jump to... What is this now? Yeah, so we get a little clip of how he pulled the Predator in the current timeline. He went and he found the Predator mask that was buried at Weapon X. He pulls it out and then lets the Predator like find it, basically seek it out, and that's how he makes the confrontation in the present.
Right.
So Wolverine was this time pulled the Predator to him. All the other times the Predator went to him.
So he left his mask out, and
So-
it was basically like,
A trap.
let's fight.
It was a trap. Yeah, yeah. So this is the part where I actually got kind of upset about this comic.
Oh, okay.
So now we jump back to when after Weapon X and all that, when he was in Japan, when he was living in Japan, and I don't remember what years, whatever. When he was studying under Muramasa. So, like the Muramasa blade or whatever, that
Yep.
sword that can like hurt and like stop the regeneration of healers and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Well, it shows him like training with that guy. He's like a really badass swordsman.
So that time period, though.
Yeah,
where
but
he
it
fucked
looks
off
like
to
it's like
Japan.
Edo period or something, but it's totally not. It's like the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, because he's
or
in like a
something.
temple, right?
Yeah,
That's
it just
what
looks
yeah.
like it all old school. So yeah, it's like not that long.
They're
ago.
like, we don't normally do this. This is only for you.
Yeah, right.
It's like, you made such a big deal about how we're not wearing robes and carrying swords.
Yeah,
This is all for you,
Wolverine's
asshole.
all dressed up in his like not kimono, the gear.
Yeah.
So
he loves it.
So the last time we saw the Predator, he had lost his mask. If you jump around in continuity of this,
Right.
He lost his mask this last time. So he shows up twice the beefcake as he was before. He
Oh,
was
he
like
been
showed
lifting.
him like a skinny guy.
Yeah.
And he literally doubled the mask that he was
He's been
before.
lifting. What if he was like 8?
Before
What if he was like a predator child?
could-
Yeah,
it-
8 years old.
that could have been his first hunt. that
yeah,
other
and now
one.
he's an adult, so he's huge.
So he looks fucking badass here. He's
Yeah.
got so much more armor. He's got gauntlets on both fists, and his mask is the bear skull from when they met that
Oh,
first time.
hell yeah.
But it's like done like, you know what I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah.
one of their It looks amazing. He's got all these skulls strapped to him. It's dope, bro. So we're getting to the last issue here. Like I said, this is only 4 issues, so I'm basically just telling you the entire friggin' story. So it jumped from the Muramasa story part back to present time,
Okay.
where he brought the Predator to him with the
Yeah.
mask. So it shows a little more of them fighting. I wanted to get hurt because it makes him feel confident. That's what Wolverine was thinking. I meant to make him feel hurt. let me get hurt, so he would feel overconfident. And that shows that for a second. Then it jumps back to the Japan and the Muramasa stuff. And the last issue at the end, Muramasa sees the Predator, and he goes, I've been your master this whole time, but now we will fight as equals or something. That was at the very end of this last issue. Now he goes, Wolverine's fighting the Predator, and he goes, hey, a little help would be nice. And he goes, this is not my enemy. If I help you, it will be like a parent who does a child's chores or schoolwork when they whine. You will never learn. 2 seconds ago, he said we're gonna fight together.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it was a different writer or they forgot in between issues or something. So that was very weird. That threw me off. I was like, that's dumb. He 2 seconds ago, he goes, let's fight together. And then literally the next panel goes, you're going to take care of it on your own.
He was all gung-ho about it. And
2 seconds
And then
ago.
he saw it and was like, this is your battle, dude.
That's what he said.
I can't get in the way of that. That's not real man stuff. You got to fight.
He goes, he's not here to fight me. How? You don't know that.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
he'd
probably kill you right after he killed him.
Yeah.
We know that.
You have no idea.
Predator wouldn't just be like deuces and then leave.
Then at this part, he starts remembering the other times he met the Predator. So he remembered,
sinks back in.
Yeah, the bear skull and blah blah blah. He starts remembering again because his memory's all messed up.
Predator's really mad because he's like, you don't
remember me.
What the hell? Well, we got a special. And he's like, I don't know who you are, bub.
Okay, so there's like a few panels of them battling a little bit, like the beginnings of a battle basically, and then Wolverine pops his claws and they're about to actually go at it, like really start fighting. And he goes invisible and runs away.
The Predator?
Yes.
Oh,
and he's
move.
like, what the hell is that? And he goes, he's running away. And then Muramasa goes, that thing was not running away from you. He didn't come here to fight me any more than he came here to fight your enemies. I'm sure you two will meet again, assuming we survive the hand. And then now there's 800 hand ninjas around him.
Oh, okay.
And so the Predator ran away because he didn't want to fight hand ninjas, I guess.
Right.
Dumb.
He's like, that's not my fight either.
That whole section did not need to be there at all. It didn't contribute in any way, shape, or form. Now we jump to another later date where Wolverine is at the Xavier school. He's wearing his brown and yellow outfit. It seems like and everybody's wearing their kind of older outfit.
Nice.
And he's chilling there. And then Predator comes out of nowhere and it basically attacks the school. And he starts blowing up the school.
All right, so Predators are badass.
Yes.
But that's the wrong
This bear
place.
one is like holding a grudge and like...
That's the wrong place to attack, though. The freaking X-Men are in there.
Dumb.
I think the X-Men would stomp a Predator.
Exactly.
Like, immediately.
Yes, they would. So he shoots a bunch of missiles kind of like at the kids and stuff, like upstairs.
Up.
So he's like, Wolverine's running upstairs and he's getting everybody out. And I think it was Kitty. He was like searching and then he finds... he like runs into the Predator. They're like about to fight, and then Nightcrawler bamps him out of there, gets him away, and he's like, "No, I'm going to fight him. I'm going to fight him." So he goes and finds him, and he's got Rogue hostage, and he's like makes Wolverine put on like handcuffs basically and leave. So he's like kidnapping him.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not a normal Predator thing to happen.
Yeah, that's weird.
And so like they're leaving and then somebody pretends to be, it's like Danny Moonstar. She pretends to be another Wolverine to like distract him. And Nightcrawler jumps in and rips off the Predator's hoses. They bring his gas to his mask and he's kind of stunned. And then Kitty knocks him over from underground. And then Rogue touches him. And
I was about to ask what would happen.
Drains some of his energy. And then from that panel to the next panel, it shows the Predator slowly walking away out in the open but invisible. And here's what it says. The Yautja managed to cloak himself and scramble back to his ship, but I couldn't let something like that happen again. What? He was dead to rights right in front of you. Basically dead. There, it shows them standing 2 feet from him, weakened from Rogue's touch. And it says he managed to scramble away back to his ship and get away.
So everyone's kicking the shit out of him, and he somehow turned invisible and
out
got
in the
away.
open. Out in the middle of the open. I was like, that's kind of dumb.
If Jean or Charles were there,
they were. Charles was at the
then
mansion.
him turning invisible shouldn't mean a thing.
No. And Danny Moonstar's there. She's like psychic and
Yep.
stuff. Yeah. So I was
that's
like,
kind of weak.
that's dumb.
That's kind of weak.
And then we do. I gotta talk.
He should have been rescued by like other predators.
Oh right.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Like they start getting punched by an invisible force, and it's like 8 predators coming to get their boy bear.
So we jump back to present day, and it's just like Predator 1. Like I said, the Predator and Wolverine were fighting underwater. Wolverine gets away and covers himself in mud, and he's just got one eyeball sticking out looking for the Predator. And the Predator's like kind of walking around, and he talks about how he was able to figure out that the Predator sees in heat, blah, blah, blah. And so the Predator like is walking past him and then stops and stabs the mud like 80 times. But it's just Wolverine ripped his eyeball out and stuck it in a mud-shaped pile. So he was able to trick the Predator, and he jumps in from behind.
Oh, that's so cool.
And he cuts off both his shoulder pads, which has one of his plasma casters on it. It goes into his shoulders, and then they start fighting. And Wolverine definitely gets the best of, has the best of the Predator, and he initiates his bomb.
His last little bitch boy defense.
Yeah, exactly. And so like they're out in the middle of Canada. I don't know if I mentioned that in the present day. Or with their fight, they're out in the middle of nowhere. He did that on purpose so nobody would get hurt.
Yeah.
So he just blows them up with Wolverine like touching him, and obviously Wolverine's just fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't give a
So
shit.
he just
Go
goes,
ahead, motherfucker.
I woke up a day later or something and walked out, and he goes, "Oh, I found a knife. He left this knife for me. That's a good trophy." And then it ends. That's the end.
That's it. Mm-hmm. He blew himself up.
Yeah. And obviously Wolverine would be fine, so that's the end.
He like sees what he's about to do, and he's like not stopping him, and the Predator's confused.
No.
Like, yeah,
No, please.
no, don't blow us up.
That's my weakness.
Explosions.
No,
I
yeah.
definitely won't survive and wake up a little bit later.
You'll be fine.
He's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
The Predator's like, "Why aren't you worried about this? You're not freaking out." Yeah, I'm not worried about a thing
at all.
Go ahead.
Do it.
Like, that's such a little, their last move is blow themselves up. That's
So
some punk
we
shit.
skipped how are the faces.
How
since
were the
there's like
faces?
5 or 6 artists,
This is our segment, How Are the Faces?
So there was like 5 or 6 artists or something. So it definitely varied between the art styles.
Right.
But honestly, overall, I really did like all the faces in it.
I saw 2 sample pages from it, and that art looked pretty cool.
Yeah. So each, like I said, the Weapon X facility one, which was one of my lesser favorite parts, had definitely my favorite art, just because it was so distinctive. It's not like, oh, there's so much more talented, or it's just preference. I just thought it was really cool because it's a style you definitely don't see all the time. That's the best way of saying it.
Right.
It reminded me of the actual first Weapon X story.
Oh, that's cool. So they modeled slightly.
Yeah, kind of.
Like
kind of similar.
That's cool. Is it over? That's it?
Yeah, it's the 4-issue miniseries. I'm actually really glad they didn't try to stretch that out longer because it was already obvious that they were stretching to 4 issues.
Right. I guess they couldn't.
They could have done it in 2 for sure.
Probably, yeah.
Easily.
At least 3. Well, I'm sorry yours wasn't all that cool, man.
Okay, so the art was cool. Like, the overall idea was cool, but yes, it wasn't.
Yeah, execution not well done, right?
Not as good as it
that sucks.
be.
Well, I loved mine.
Yeah.
So I got one. I got N. So I got Niobe.
Yeah.
It's called She Is Life. Niobe, She Is Life.
Do you mind spelling that for everybody, please?
Niobe. SHEISLIFE. Niobe, She Is Life.
Jesus.
It's done by Stranger Comics. Writer is Sebastian A. Jones and Amandla Stenberg. Artist is Ashley Woods, bunch of other people. So based on the world of Asunda.
Yeah.
Created by Sebastian Jones. A straight fantasy world. It's really cool. So when it starts, it's Niobe, and she's running through the woods, and there's this text above her. You know, it's like someone's talking to her. But I believe it's this, in a couple of panels, you see that she's chasing like a fly. It's called an Esu fly.
Yeah.
So she's following that, and it seems like the fly is talking, and talking about, do you deserve to hear my voice in your head? Do you still pray? Should I listen? Will I care? It's presumably a god that she's speaking, or that's narrating, basically.
Okay.
So, first interaction with people is Niobe's in the water, and there's this woman in white that pulls up on a horse with 4 men, and she says, "Come, child, I will take you." And Niobe's like, "I'm not ready to face him. None of us are ready, but forgiveness is something we'll need. You need to forgive him and show your father mercy." And she's like, "No, the only thing I crave is his death. Like, I'm going to be the one to kill him." And
we're not supposed to know the backstory of any of this
Not yet.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't think so.
One of the men that's with the girl on the white horse with the white hood, he's like, "Treason!" And the girl in the white cuts his head off, like, immediately. And she's like, "You have to come with us. You need to come see your father." And Niobe's like, "No, fuck you." And then she jumps off this giant waterfall, falls in the water, and again the voice comes back talking about, like, you can stop running. You just have to let it happen to you. Just let it happen. So when she wakes up, she even asks, Mother Aranumenel.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's fantasy.
Yeah,
so get ready for a lot of crazy words like that. So.
Yeah, I heard you say a couple the other day, and I was like, I thought you were making them up.
Nope.
Though. Okay.
It's straight fantasy, silly names.
Okay.
I love it. So she said, Aranumenel, Mother Aranumenel, did you pull me from the water? And then no answer. And she's like, "Nothing, really?" She's like, "God, you suck." Right? So she's thinking to herself, is this hell? And then someone answers, like, her thought. And he says, "It can be." And she's like, "You can hear my thoughts?" And he says, "I can hear many things." What is this place? And he's like, "Oh, the girl is in need of knowing, and she can't run any longer, and you're late for life. So come here and let's figure it out." He's like, "Why are you here?" She's like, "I was running from someone, and then I came here." And he's like, "Oh, well, then we'll pray for guidance." He says, "Meet me in where we pray, and then we can talk some more."
Okay.
So she has to climb a mountain, not a mountain, but more like a wall.
Okay.
So as she's standing there, there's a dwarven dude who was speaking to her. Next to the dwarven guys, there's 3 black, and they you can presume they're elves because they have the elf ears.
Yeah.
And they have, like, face paint on and bones and stuff in their cheeks
Kinda
and chin,
tribal.
and very tribal. And then there's this orc, this little young orc dude just chilling, looking all morose. So says, "Your wings are broken, she tribe. The black elves are calling her half-blood."
Okay.
And they're like, "We've heard of you. You're tainted by the devil.
Ooh.
We don't want the untamed here." So it comes up later what all that is.
Yeah, of course.
He says, "Yeah, good luck finding friends in this sacred place. Like, you're not wanted here." So the fly pops back, and she's narrating again. They said, "They have heard your name, and they fear it. You know, your story was written with a demon's pen, basically, by a demon's hand."
Some prophecy stuff.
Very much so. Like, that's the burden of hero. What will you do when you're faced with demon? Will you fight, run, become evil, blah, blah, blah. So she actually makes it into this little prayer room, and she ends up talking to this guy. He introduces himself as Bragnar Steelnose. And she's like...
I like that one.
Right. He's like, "What are we doing here? What is this place?" And he says, "I'm a king just like you. This is where we congregate." And she's still confused. And the black dudes, the tribesmen that are elves,
Yeah.
they're called where's it at? Basically, those men are upset, saying, "It's only for men here." And he's like, the dwarf Bragnar is like, "Oh, you're a man now?" He's like, "Why are you talking all that shit? Like, this is where we heal people." And even the orc was like, "Our only goal is to bring people to salvation here."
Uh-huh.
So basically, a lot of very, not metaphoric, but like vague discussion between these people.
Okay.
Bragnar is like, "It's time for the hunt." She's like, "I have no weapons." And he says, not everything has to die for us to live, blah, blah, blah. Really metaphorical, super vague, poetry flowing talk, right?
Yeah.
It clears it up later. So she's out in the woods, and she gets approached by this big-ass beast. It's like, Ubeya.
It looks dope.
Ubeyaga, something like it says the name, but I don't know.
So that looks just like one of the world's largest mammals ever. Mm-hmm. It's like a Paraceratherium or something.
Yeah, I've seen stuff that looks similar to
with
this.
horns. It's one of those with different kind. Oh no, that's the Paraceratherium did have little horns.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Yeah.
So it looks similar.
Yeah, that might be.
I've seen stuff that looks like this before.
It looks dope. Whatever it is.
Bragnar's they're having a conversation that's off panel, but it's basically being shown while she's talking to this beast. Mm-hmm. He mentions the god Powasian, which is what he's converted to. Like, that's the god they worship in this place, is this Powasian person, god.
Yeah, see, it's spelled really weird.
Yeah,
I think
it
you're
is.
saying it right. Powasian.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Scene? Like the river Seine? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. It's fantasy, so your guess is as good as mine.
It's not a bad name for a fantasy name. Right? I'll give it that.
So the beast ends up getting shot and killed by the tribesmen there. And she's like, this was a gift from Powasine. And he's like, you're a half-breed. Don't talk about the gods like you know, or you're not special at all.
Yeah.
You know, this is our spot, blah, blah, blah.
Religion always brings people together, right?
Oh, yeah, very much so. They always want to know more about it and then would try to follow what the other religion says to do instead
the one
of
that
their
you're getting
own.
Pushed upon
Yeah,
you.
exactly, yeah. They're real quick to leave their
favorite.
own to jump on another one.
Yeah, that's how that works.
So as they're discussing this, they hear screams, and they run through the woods, and they come across one of the Gaelmarin, the black elves.
Yeah.
One of them and another one of those beasts are just slaughtered, blood everywhere, and the orc is standing there. So Timshin, he's the main tribal guy.
Yeah.
He's pissed off, and he's like, you orc, you're a killer, blah, 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 you killed him. He's like, no, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
I watched it happen. I tried to save him, but it wasn't me. So then that's the end of chapter 1.
Yeah.
Basically, and in between each chapter, they have these breakdowns. It's like a few paragraphs of some characters in the story.
Right.
This first one is about, what's her name? The warrior Assessa. She is the girl in white that was chasing Niobe at the beginning of the story. She's basically a vampire, and she's given her soul to this untamed character, and basically evil. She wanted a man, and the man that she was with was elf, and she wasn't, and it didn't work out, and now she's just constantly craving, like, the souls of men. So she's basically a monster, vampire, undead chick.
Okay.
Cursed by the devil. So she's chasing Niobe for Niobe's father.
Okay, yeah, the one they've referenced a couple.
Exactly. So next chapter starts with her talking to the orc dude, and he's like, "Did you kill?" She said, "Did you kill him?" He's saying things like, "It doesn't matter. Timshin's the leader of the tribe. You know, they already judged me guilty because I'm also a half-blood," and that's where these guys start actually connecting together. They, talk about what it's like to be judged from birth. And she says, what of your family? What about your legend? And, why are you here? And he says, to find answers just like you. So tell me what happened. And as they're talking, it cuts to Prin's funeral, which is the kid that died. His name's Prin.
Yeah, that they found just a minute ago.
Exactly. Okay. So Timshin is all, and this is pretty dope. He says, may Powasian guide your journey beyond the gate with the petals of Frivana beneath your feet and the staff of Ujo in your grasp to defend against anyone that will stop you from getting to heaven, basically.
Okay.
Which I was like, that's rad.
That's kind of cool.
To ward off those who would seek you harm on your path to heaven. Thought that was super cool. Mm-hmm. So now the Yasu fly is narrating again. And she's talking about, you only reach out to me in your time of need, except you're not reaching out to me for yourself. You're reaching out for the elven boy. Like,
so your prayers are going to get answered because they're not selfish?
Or no, she says, not for the elvish boy who died, but for the one you do not know, a half-orc boy. So she's like, you're praying and worried about this old enemy of your clan, your people. Orcs are not good people in this world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So she's narrating like, are you going to help him against that? I can't give you these answers. So cuts to basically the orc guy's trial. Now his name is Sin.
Yeah.
It's Sin something, but it's a crazy long name. His name's Sin. They basically say, will anyone sing for you? will you defend yourself? And he's like, listen, I didn't do it. I'd come across the Ubeyo, which is that weird animal.
Yeah.
And he said it was large, it was male. I startled it at first, and then Prin attacked it with a knife. He said out of nowhere came like a beast with a bunch of horns and spears and teeth like swords, and basically ripped the guy and the animal apart. But he says the whole time Prin was there, he was looking at me. Prin never looked at the beast.
Okay.
So he only
he couldn't
looked,
see it.
He couldn't see it. He was only staring at the orc and attacked him with hate, is what he says. So Tim Shin's like, nah, bro, you're a liar.
Sounds like some BS to me.
He said it's some orc. This is some orc lies. So he's like not having any of it. And he's like, shit, I saw it. So did my boy right here. And his boy was like, yeah, it's true. I saw it. And he said Niobe saw it too. And they asked Niobe, and she's like, no.
I didn't see shit.
I didn't see any of that. He's like, oh, you defend him? And she's like, not for murder, but from lies, yes.
Right.
So Bragnar's like, well said. I like that. So let's take a week. Y'all investigate, try to figure out what really, truly happened. Right?
That's kind of cool.
So she goes back. The fly is back. And they're actually not talking, narrating. She asks him, did you see the attack? And the fly flies towards this little pendant from like a necklace. And she's like, oh, that's Prin's pendant. So then the fly flies off again. And she's, thinking, where are you leading me to? So she follows the fly, and it takes her to this crazy room.
It's amazing looking.
Yeah, no,
it's my favorite page so far.
The art's cool. Now, there's some, I'll just do the faces now.
Yeah.
They're very distinct. You can totally tell who everyone is, but I'm not the hugest fan of it. Some of the art looks great. Some of it looks very much like you just took a cutout of something and pasted it on a background that was very similar.
Oh, okay.
And some of them, it looks too bubbly and fake and
I'm not
weird.
a big fan of it.
It's not the greatest art. It doesn't bother me.
The color choices, I am a fan of.
It is very colorful.
I do like that.
Like I said, there are some panels that I really like. Yeah. And as far as the faces go, they're fine. You can tell who everyone is. You have no problem with that.
And they're not even super detailed, and you can still tell the difference.
Again, though, very middle of the road. It doesn't bother me to the point that I'm like, oh, I'm not going to read this.
Yeah.
And it's not so amazing that I am excited to see
out.
it. Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
It gets the point across.
Yep. It exists. So that was our segment.
That sounds worse than you actually feel, because you're not even that negative.
I nothing it.
Yeah, that sounds way worse.
Does it?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, then I kind of like it, and then I kind of don't.
There you go. I swear that's better.
So the fly leads her in. Now she meets this character. Niobe meets this character in this little cave. This character says she's a historian. Her name is Charan.
Okay.
Charan.
Okay.
So, I mean, that could be Karen or Charan. I'll say Charan. I guess, I don't know.
Karen. I think Karen would
Karen
work.
Probably is right. Because you said the Greek.
Oh, the guy Ferris.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she meets this character Charan, who is a historian, and she figures out that she's the one who pulled her from the river, and she calls her a firstborn. So she's like, I am many things. I'm not a man or a woman. So she is one of the firstborn things. She just existed, right?
Yeah.
Not a man, not a woman, not a god. Something else. So Charan asks Karan, whatever her name is. Karan. Oh, fuck, I don't know. Anyway, so she asks her. She's called a Sufe. There's the Asufly.
Yeah.
She's the Asufe.
Okay.
So she asks her, what's going on here? And she's like, listen, I can't tell you. I'm just a scribe. I'm a historian. I'm here to watch things. I watch things that haven't happened and have happened. And I'm just supposed to basically document it. She's a watcher.
She's the watcher.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was like, you pulled me out of the water. And she was like, it's not your time. And then I was immediately like, you just said you can't do anything, but you pulled her out of the water.
Literally just did.
She said, she just said it wasn't your time. That's it. So she's like, please, no fucking riddles or weird shit. What is this place?
Straight answer, please.
Yeah. So she says it's a weird language. This is the Jundar Jom, Plains of Redemption in the Old Tongue. It was carved by Powasian and Mithril as a refuge for all Isineel, which are elves, basically.
Okay.
Gaelmarin, which is what she is.
Okay.
She's half Gaelmarin. And the stubborn Macgrum, which are the dwarves.
Okay.
To bury hatred. So both elf and dwarf could unite against the untamed and the orc. So this place was made for everyone to gather against the devil and the orcs, basically.
Yeah.
So he did end up taking an orc, which I thought was cool. So she ends up leaving the Isufe, ask it, can you tell me about the beast that's hunting us? And it's like, You'll figure it out soon enough. Don't worry about it. So very cryptic, kind of like, fuck you. You just did no help at all. Mm-hmm. You just told me this place is called the Plains of Redemption, basically. That's about it. So when she gets out of the little cave she's in, she finds Timshin, who's like kind of having a breakdown. And she's like, hey, you cool? Can we talk? And he's like, yeah, sorry, it's me. I'm broken. I'm all messed up. That's crazy. So he tells her the story of Bragnar found him and his brother when they were young. They were like cold and starving. So their tribe was butchered by a Grachuk clan loyal to Morkamora. So it was a tribe run by an orc who was loyal to a other orc named Morkamoa. Now, the Morkamoa is a badass dude, right?
Okay.
And this tribe was loyal to him. And they slaughtered Timshin's whole family.
All right.
So they end up getting away and survived basically on just pure hatred. And so this dude, that's why he's super pissed when he thinks that Sin killed his brother, his tribesmen, and stuff like that. So that's why he's freaking out. He already hates orcs. She's kind of over it all. She's like, I'm kind of beyond that. Like, I don't care that they're orcs. I don't care that we're the same tribe. Like, you got to be a good person, basically.
Uh-huh.
Right? So they've lived there basically this whole time. Cool part is that when the chief attacked, he was like, my mother and father fought them off. Like, my father blinded him with the sword, and then my mother came and got rid of his steed. And basically they were about to win, and the orc called on his god. Now, in this world, we get into it a little more later, the gods actually respond and talk and meddle with their affairs. So the orc god, it's like Xath or something. Basically, he gave him a magic to extend his sword, and he slayed the mother and father with like the longest sword ever. So it basically became the length it needed to be to kill these two people. So those guys run away. They're found by him. So they go see the orc Sin in the present time.
Yeah.
And he's just standing against a tree. There's a bunch of dead bodies everywhere. Again, he's like, dude, again? Are you serious? He's like, yeah, the beast went that way. He's like, oh, he left you alive again?
Yeah.
And Niobe's like, enough. Go get the dwarf. Go get Bragnar. Just go. And she's like, Sin, you stay here. I'm going to hunt the beast. So Sin tells him, like, hey, that beast can blend into the trees like your people.
Oh,
so
damn.
I love that little drop of knowledge right there. Like, okay, the elves can blend really well. Camouflage. So
you can't see that camel anywhere.
Can't see the camouflage at all. So she wanders into the woods, and she actually finds a beast. So Sin was not lying. It's this giant monster with, like, horns and crazy teeth. And they get in a big scrap. It shows their last panel walking away covered in blood. She tells Sin, hey, it's dead. So they're chatting now. They're talking about, like, hey, we're actually friends now. She says, I guess the gods wanted this. Niobe says, I don't know what the gods want. And Sin slips this in there. He goes, I know what I want. He's staring at Niobe going, I know what I want. So he gives her this jade-like pendant, right? And he said, this is like the only thing I have in the world. Take it. And she's like, we're friends now. So as she's looking through it, you see this other shot, and it's a giant shadow, and it's a big green hand holding a basically the same jade pendant, and this character can see through it, so he can see Niobe's face.
It looks like an arrowhead.
It's an arrowhead. He can see through it, kind of like that mirror in Harry Potter. He can see her through it. So it goes to another one of those paragraphs. All right, so this one's very fantasy. Here we go. Aranumanel is the embodiment of light and love on Asunda. She is the goddess of healing and peace. Back in the day, the king of the heavens and the queen of death, they had two babies. One of them is the devil called the Untamed, and moments after is Arunuminel.
Yeah.
Arunuminel. So she got disfigured in the womb, and when she came out, she was like half disfigured and half beautiful goddess like her brother, right?
Okay.
So they're both beautiful people. She can heal people, but never chose to heal herself, right? So way later, the devil, the Untamed, he goes off. He starts killing lesser gods and all the angels. And her love for him was like so strong that when she looked at him, he like almost broke down and basically was about to repent. He fell to his knees and was like grabbing at her robes, just staring in her eyes. Like her love is so fierce. Like it's love of the soul, not the body, blah, blah, blah. Super fierce love for her brother. And he was about to quit. He was basically like, okay, I'm done.
Whoa.
And then the brothers and sisters tried to kill him. So Powasien and the god of nature, which is Powasien, and then Urzog, the god of war, they attacked the Untamed and tried to cast him out of basically heaven.
Okay.
So he's doomed to walk the earth forever, looking to torture the children of Arunuminel.
Okay.
Because he thought that was a trick. She tricked me when she was just like, I love you, don't do this.
Yeah.
And he's like, she played me so my brothers could kill me and then cast me out. So he's pissed. He's basically like, fuck Arunuminel and everyone who follows her. I'm going to kill you all. Right? So this is a flashback several years ago. It's Niobe talking to her mother. It's a statue, and the statue seems like it's talking back. And she's like, why are they afraid of us? And it says, because of what you can be, a queen, a demon. Sometimes you have to be evil to do good type thing, right? So what will you do? There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
What will you do type thing? Will you run? Will you fight?
Gotcha.
Will you be a tyrant? Will you be loving? Blah, 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 right? So a lot of that floating in the air. This guy in a hood shows up because there's always a guy in a hood with a mask.
Yeah.
He basically shows up and he's like, listen, the gods are all going to bail on you. And when they do, your king, your father, will not show you mercy. So you need to learn how to fight. So basically he ends up training. He does this cool spell where he splits the swords and then he gives her one, which I thought was really cool. So they end up fighting. And he says, I am like my mother. And he's like, broken? And she says, never. I am Eujon. I am Gelmarin. I am... And he kicks her and he goes off balance. Bloop. So she falls on the ground and he's basically like, I'm going to train you in the ways of the assassin and the thief. So, like, I'm going to make you a badass.
Sneaky.
And know how to fight. So, in the woods, Bragnar is now talking to the Isufe, Karan or whatever. So they're chatting about, we should have never let the half-blood in. And she's like, you didn't make a mistake. You will have to pick up your axe again. And trust me, the gods remember the last time you held your axe. River of blood. Basically, Bragnar still knows is just a beast. Just a monster with his axe. The dwarf. So,
yeah.
She walks up and, or Bragnar's kind of like, the enemy knows. And she's like, yeah, he knows. He's on his way. You'll meet him very soon. And he's like, well, it's time to fight then. Let's go.
Let's do this.
So Niobe rolls up and she's like, am I the half-blood you speak of? And they're like, damn, she's like a shadow. That's super impressive. So she basically, the Isufe is telling her that the enemy is coming for Bragnar and that's why he's afraid and he's acting all crazy and his mind's super burdened. So she ends up talking to the god, and it seems like she is actually responding to her now.
Oh, really?
She's like, your greatest challenge is still to come. And she's like, you're talking to me again, Arunuminel? And she says, a daughter needs her mother. And she's like, but you're not her. You're in my head when I don't want you there, and you're never around when I need you the most. Basically getting in a fight with this Isufe, the little fly that's speaking with the goddess's voice, basically, is what we can assume.
Like a messenger or something, maybe?
Just like... Yeah, the voice of the goddess. So it tells her, Niobe's like, leave me alone. Like, leave me alone. She's confused about the orc boy because that's the first dude who was nice to her. She doesn't want to do the things she's supposed to do, but she's like, I'm being used by everyone. I was used and tricked into coming here to be a part of this mission I don't want to do. Just fuck off and leave me alone. So the Isufe is flying away and it gets caught in a glass container by someone, right? So now we're at the Bragnar moved the trial of Sin ahead because he knows the bad guy's on the way. We need to get this shit over with. So basically, in essence, what it comes down to is Niobe decides to fight as his champion because he goes trial by combat.
Oh, yeah.
And then Timshin ends up, Bragnar's like, I'm not fighting you, girl. Like, I have no beef with you. I'll just banish him. How about that? And Timshin is like, no. My brother is the one who died. This orc killed him. Let me do it. So Niobe and Timshin ended up fighting as champions for Sin and Bragnar, who's the judge of this land, because he's basically the king of this weird little kingdom they live in. So they end up fighting, and Timshin is, he's like, I am stronger. I'm quicker than you. I am. And Niobe goes, in love with me. And he goes, I am. And she goes, off balance. Whoop. Knocks him off his feet, and she puts the sword to his neck. And he's like, kill me. And she's like, no, you're Gaelmarin, the same people as me, and you finally know my name because he's been calling her She-Tribe the whole time. So that's over. That's how it ended up. Sin is free to go because Niobe won. Yeah. He's not guilty. So they end up chatting, and they find out that they dig each other. And he's like, no, you picked him when you didn't kill him. She's like, listen, I didn't pick anyone. I want to be with you. So they get together. They're like together now. I want a love that never dies. And she's like, you have it. Right? So after this, after they make this vow of love, he's like, yeah, listen. So by the way, I gotta leave. And she's like, where are you going? And he's like, so your father is not the only bad guy that's trying to kill us or you. My father is the evil orc Morkamoa. Yeah. And she's like, oh, the jade god, the great hunter, like that's your dad? She's like, you've been trying to keep this from me? You know that fucker's been trying to kill me ever since I was born, on top of my dad also trying to kill me. And he's like, yeah, I didn't know how to tell you that. I thought you'd be mad. She's like, fuck yeah, I'm pissed. She's like, you lied to me. He's like, well, you're not your dad, right? And she's like, true. And he's like, so I'm not my dad. Listen, I would go through hell for you. And his dad's standing across the water, and he's like, oh, I hope you're ready, boy, because hell's coming. Like, I hope you're ready to prove that, right? So now another paragraph. This is the beginning of chapter 4, and there's a exposition paragraph in the middle. Right. So this one talks about her king, her father. So he is not really living or dead. He is cursed by the untamed. So he's basically like just a skin draped in silks in winter and fur in summer. He's just a husk. Like he's not a regular dude. Yeah. So he has a wife. He ends up kidnapping this Gaelmarin princess, which ends up being Niobe's mom. So he can't get her to love her. So he ends up forcibly taking her. And she was pissed and was like, fuck you, and kept the baby. And then because he can't be with her, he threw her in just a giant hole, basically, where criminals go to die. Oh my God. So somewhere along the line, she makes it out. And he finds out eventually, because he didn't know she was pregnant, but he finds out eventually, and that's why he's trying to get her to come to him. She's probably going to kill her, and that's why she wants to kill him, right? So he didn't know that she was being born down there and then till way, way later. So she's already like a warrior that can stand against him, and that's what he's kind of freaking out about, right? All because he wanted this girl. So they're like, I don't know how much of their mom's faith is still in her because her mom was super faithful. Is the dad's evil side in her? Is it the mom's faithful side? What's inside of her? Which is the whole thing. She's a half-blood. Yeah. Because she's Gaelmarin, and then the other half is untamed. That's why they were like, we can't let her in. She's tainted because her father is corrupted by the untamed. So she's technically part devil, part elf. Okay. So that's why everyone's like, no, she's bad news. Stay away from her. Okay. And they don't know what she is. Is she a bad guy? Is she a good guy? Is she going to kill everyone?
There's others like her?
Probably. Well, Sin is. He's because the Morkamoa, the great hunter, the big bad orc, did the same thing with the human woman, and that's where Sin came from. Yeah, okay. So chapter 4 starts, they're wandering around holding hands. One of the Gaelmarin comes across this little patch of bunnies, and he's like, damn, what the hell's wrong with y'all? And he turns around, there's 2 orcs standing behind him. Yeah. So Sin and Niobe are walking around talking about like, well, we could go here, I have friends here. And they see Timshin. Tim Shin standing behind him with the bow and arrow. And Orc is, Sin is like, I knew that scent. I knew this was going to happen. Next time I caught your scent, one of us was going to die. So he lets go of the arrow, and it hits an orc behind him. So the orcs are like, She Tribe and Sin are still alive. Kill the elf boy. And this was just a cool little thing, but it said the elf boy has blinder, sword of Featherfoot, which is his dad. So he has his dad's sword. And I thought it was cool that the orcs recognized it. Always loved that where orcs know a sword.
Yeah.
Like in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
I always thought that was super cool. So Sin is like, Tim Shin, take Niobe. They won't hurt me. Get her out of here. So they take Sin away, the orcs do. And now Niobe and Tim Shin are there staring at this other orc, and they end up fighting him together. And they fight well, and they kill him.
Dope.
Right, so now Tim Shin is like, we got to go. We got to go back to the kingdom. Our king is preparing to fight. So now it shows Bragnar, and he's praying, and he mentions that it's Madrak, which is the queen of death. Now, and he's kind of like, you left me. And she was like, oh, many others needed me. She's like, but don't worry, I'm here at the last time for the last battle. Like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm still blessed by Powasi, and that's my God. But I am your king. And she's like, what she says? She says, you are, but I'm here for a queen. And then Niobe comes in and is like, oh, dwarves all talk to their weapons, huh? Or does your goddess talk back to you? And then he mentions, listen, I have to go do this. You're staying behind. There's your sisters you need to take care of. So he introduces her to a bunch of other elven women that have found their way to his kingdom. And he's taking care of them.
Okay.
And he's like, it's now your turn. I'm going to fight Morkamoa and take care of that. Y'all get out of here. Your battle is coming. This isn't it. Now she's like, introduces herself to the sisters. They make a big speech as Bragnar's going out to meet the orc. And now Sin is there, and he finds out that his dad's been spying on him. So he's like, fuck you, Dad. Like, you don't trust me? And he's like, how do I prove to you that I'm your son? He's like, you know what to do. Basically, he wants Sin to go kill Niobe. So Bragnar rolls up, and he's like, Soul Asunder is here for you. He's like, I don't care about your god or your weapon. He was like, let's fight together, man to man, or whatever, you know. And in this, and the orc goes, no, and shoots a bunch of arrows at him. So it all bounces off his armor because he's protected by the goddess of death, right? And Powasian. So like I said, the gods actually interact here. So Sin is like, let me do it. And he goes, no, you know who you're supposed to kill. Go take care of that. So in the room that they left Niobe, there's this necklace. She puts it on. She makes a big speech about being a goddess and all these women that are running from people who want to kill her. And it's like, if men are chasing you, then we're sisters. They have their little Marvel woman. And it's actually cool in this one.
Yeah.
Like, I actually like it. Like, the whole, like, she is God. And then the last shot is like, she is death, and it's all these women with weapons going towards the battlefield. So Bragnar's like, you fucking dumb bitch. Like, I told you not to come out here. So, and I thought women were about to start dropping. I was like, this sucks. You just met your sisters, and they're about to start dying. So thankfully no one dies. Tim Shin's out there fighting, and he comes across an orc, and he's like, the orc says something about, I know that scent, and he goes, yeah, and I bet you know my father's blade. And he said, Featherfoot filled my belly. I ate the ears of the whole clan. So Tim Shin gets to like chop that dude's head off.
Nice.
The orc that killed his father.
Oh, yeah.
So now remember that Morkamoa, the leader of the orcs, he kidnapped the Asu fly, the actual fly.
Yes.
And he's like, give me the damn fly. He's like, it's magic. If I eat it, I be magic.
Yeah.
So he ate it, and all these lights, crazy blue lights, and his eyes light up, and just crazy shit starts happening.
Yeah.
Now the Asufe, the Charon woman, now she rolls up, and he's like, you can't interfere. Like, fuck off. Like, all you can do is talk to me. She's like, I'm not supposed to interfere, but your greed has awakened my wrath. You defiled the essence of the firstborn. Like, how dare you eat that fly, basically. So she just blasts him, just straight fire beam coming down on him.
Nice.
Now he pops up, and he's like, I have the protection of Zaith, my god. Your essence is basically running through my blood. You can't hurt me. So he hits her with the spear. Now the Isufe is gone, disappeared. Bragnar walks up and he's like, it's just you and me, boy, let's go. So they start fighting. Bragnar's about to lose. Niobe pops in and she's like, no, fight me. So she slices him and it's like his armor is healing him. Like he can't die from this.
Oh, okay.
Aranumanel pops into Niobe's head and says, I'm with you. If you fall, I'll pick you up. So she actually gets hit. And he's like, what the hell? You should be dead. Like, how are you still around? So they end up fighting. And he goes, you know what? If I can't kill you, I'll just watch you die. And behind her is Sin. And Sin has a sword. And he goes, I said I'd go through hell for you. And he stabs his father through the chest and tackles him off a mountain. Now, Bragnar stands up and he goes, Goddess of Death, if you close this mountain pass so none may ever walk these paths again, our dead is square. And immediately the mountain just caves in. Nice. So crumbles on Morkamoa, who's dead, on Sin, who's dead, tackled down at the bottom of the mountain. Freaking dope ending. That is dope. Niobe's crushed because she actually felt love, and that's what she feels all these enemies are doing, is to steal her life away. She doesn't want to just be some cold warrior. There is another theme going out through the whole book about she wants to go home. She wants to go back to where she can just climb trees and just be a kid. Basically no responsibility, same as all of us, right?
Yeah.
So she's crushed. Bragnar's like, listen, don't let this like harden you. Like the world needs you exactly how you are.
Right.
So King Andrek is totally controlled. Your father is totally controlled by the Untamed. Like, don't forget that for a second. You have to fight. And he goes, seek out the Isufe. And she's like, he lives? And he's like, yeah, no earthly weapon can kill him. So you got to go find him. He might not remember all of this.
Yeah.
He might die and start over again. So basically she has to roll out. All the sisters are like, we're going to miss you. She's a badass. We should go. So she rolls out. She's wearing these like these shoulder pads, kind of, it's like feathers. And it's Temshin's mother's thing that only a shaman can have.
Okay.
So she has moments where she heals people throughout the book because her goddess is Aranumanel, who heals.
Right.
So that's the power she's granted. So the very last few panels is the girl in white, Assessa, from the beginning, in the white cloak. She walks up to Sin and she's like, oh, you'd walk through hell for Niobe. It's a hard journey. Let's see how you do. So that's it. And then the last bit talks about her kind of, becoming this role she's in now. Of going out into the world and fighting for good and not being the evil demon everyone thought she was going to be.
Right.
She is queen. She is life. She is death. Right.
That's
That's the end. Super dope. I love a good fantasy story. Yeah. I love when gods are interacting with people. I think that's so cool that these warriors can like call on their gods to actually do something. So there is another Niobe. It's called Niobe, She is Life. I learned that previous to both of those books, there was a book called The Untamed that was made. So it started with The Untamed. It goes to Niobe, She is Life. And then there's an Assessa book, her own story. Yeah. And then Niobe, She is Death. So there's 4 books or 4 titles with 3 or 4 issues each.
Okay.
Of all these stories. So it's all, one big story, which I love. Dude.
Yeah, that's cool.
Totally going to read the rest of them.
What was the name of the, Asunda?
Asunda is the world, yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the way they introduce it. It was difficult to get a handle on right away. Yeah. A lot of names. And they do that thing where they call them elves, they call them Gelmrin, and they call them Ishanil. So, once you get a handle on that shit, you're like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
But before that, it's a little stressful.
There was a lot.
But, I'm a sucker for fantasy, and it all makes sense. It was cool. I like the world. I like the little kingdom of all those different races she ended up in. Like, it was all super dope. And the Untamed didn't show up, so the big bad guy's still out there, technically.
True. Nice.
So, That's what I mean? Right? It didn't give away everything in this issue, and it made me definitely want more. Like, nice. This was one of my favorite ones I've read for the show, for sure.
That's a dope.
Super cool comic.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You ready to fight, man?
It's on.
like the Donkey Kong. This is our segment, Matt versus Adam. This is where we take a random character generator and see who would win in a fight between the guy, gal, or animal or monster or whatever that we get. We have Marvel, DC, cartoon characters, and video game. Yep. So we've done Marvel, DC recently, but I think we wanted to do Marvel versus
the crossover.
DC.
Yeah.
So who do you want? You pick.
I'll do Marvel.
Okay. All right. Well, here, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. I usually go first, so it makes just click it for me.
Gotcha. Ooh, you got Moon Knight.
Really?
Yeah. Really? All right, let me go to DC.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll probably.
It's over.
I got Brainiac.
Ugh.
Brainiac versus Moon Knight. Can Brainiac fight? He can squab,
he,
right?
Remember when we saw him in like the big caterpillar form type thing?
Oh,
where,
yeah, he was wrecking
so
Superman.
Like usually he doesn't really fight a lot, but in the more recent, yeah, he also does fight some.
So he got some squabs.
Yeah, so like obviously you can always argue, well, which version, blah 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 blah. But even like his medium version, I feel like could beat up Moon Knight, because Moon Knight's barely special.
I mean, yeah, he's just a dude. He's
Yeah.
a little bit stronger?
Yeah, well, his knees even go out. In the comic that I was reading,
He is addicted to painkillers.
Yeah, because his knees went out. So, like,
Yeah.
he's not even so bad. Oh, that might have been after he lost his powers.
It was.
Lost some of his powers.
It
that's
was
right.
after he lost his powers.
So, like, even whenever he had his powers, it wasn't anything crazy, right? Here, I don't know why I haven't looked it up.
Yeah, you look up your guy. I'll look up my guy. Yeah, as far as I've seen, it's always just like Brainiac just has plans for Superman.
Yeah.
He never just shows up to like fist fight him in the middle of a city, you know?
Usually not, and like I said, there's definitely some versions in the past that Moon Knight probably would be able to beat up, I would imagine.
All right, so I have my abilities here.
Yeah.
12th level intellect, superhuman speed, strength, and durability, flight, technopathy, telepathy, telekinesis, self-sustenance, immortality, regeneration, energy absorption, and projection. That's pretty mean, man.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
What
so
you got?
like I got
You sound mad.
The power no, the powers it's better than I thought. So it's got powers and skills, and so like the skills go first, and pretty normal stuff, master marksman, expert interrogator, master martial arts, but telepathy resistance, which
Ooh.
is useful,
Nice.
and then vast wealth and resources, which is also kind of useful. But that's not my powers. Those are just skills. Here's the actual divine empowerments: immortality, necromancy, lunakinesis, whatever that is.
You can control
the moons, right? Geokinesis, lunar strength, power absorption, moon empowerment, self-sustenance, and phase transformation.
Okay.
And then the actual Moon Knight suit, it literally says cloak. Like that's part of the. Oh my
That's
God.
it.
Yeah, carbonadium.
He doesn't cloak. He's wearing all white.
Carbonadium armored vest. So that's dope.
Okay.
Carbonadium is one of like the bootleg adamantiums. It's what I think Omega Red's made out of or whatever.
Okay.
And so carbonadium, I think, is also it stops healing factors, like the Muramasa blade that I literally talked about earlier.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it does the same thing.
Okay.
Oh, and at one point I had the Phoenix Force, apparently.
Well, you ain't got it. This
No,
is we're in 2-block radius of downtown Houston, and it's fight on site.
Yeah.
So no prep
But
time. No
that
nothing.
means you don't have any of your robots or any of the stuff
No,
you usually
I mean-
rely on to fight.
So it says he's usually depicted with incredibly high levels of strength, durability, and speed. The exact level varies, but usually hovers at around Superman's strength.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just with that, plus with
No,
all the
I
other
knew
stuff,
before we looked at any of this that I lost.
You think?
100% of the time.
How good of a fight you think it is, though?
Not even that good.
No, it's just so
Because
Brainiac.
Moon Knight is truly a street level hero.
Yes, yeah, he's not
truly a
doing
street-level
into the
hero.
world stuff too much.
He gets brought into crossover events and events.
He's
and
always on
whatnot.
teams.
Yes, because he's not. You heard my stuff.
Yeah.
It's really not that that powerful.
They're never like, we specifically need Moon Knight. Unless
hardly
they're going
ever.
to Egypt.
Yeah, basically.
Other than that, yeah, they don't need the guy.
You know what's hilarious is the number of aliases he has. Think about that, because he's got all those different
He's
personalities.
got three
But then,
personalities. yeah.
as you know, superheroes always have a bunch of names.
And they're all also superheroes, so they have their own version of Moon Knight. Because it's
Yeah.
like Khonshu, or not Khonshu, Mr. Knight.
Oh, there's that. And then, like, now there's another avatar of Khonshu that's in the comics.
Yeah.
I forgot what they call him. But, yeah, he wears, like, more black
Oh, okay.
and whatnot.
That's cool. Still not beating me, though.
No.
I think Brainiac takes that one. So
Yeah, he
what
does.
level is Moon Knight at as far as people, like, could he beat Captain America? Because I don't even think he could do that.
He could. He definitely could.
He could?
With all his full empowerments. He's got the kinesises and the power absorption,
What
and
about Spider-Man?
that's getting to, like, really good fight.
Okay.
I would consider
So that's
that
about the level
extremely good
he's
fight.
at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Brainiac's definitely, if I can go head-to-head with Superman, just on some fists,
Yeah.
you have no chance.
Exactly.
I mean, that's normally happens with DC versus Marvel.
Yeah.
Unless you just get some street-level character, DC's
Right.
normally going to outpower them.
It does a lot of the times.
For the most part.
I picked Marvel because we had just talked about how this feels like DC is more powerful. I was like, I don't want it to seem like I'm like, he gave me the choice first, so I'm gonna pick the strong one.
Taint my win there.
Yeah.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So what is that? 15-13.
You got it written down, right?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
saying it's 15-13.
15-13. God damn.
15-13. Creeping on a come up.
All right.
Bone Thugs. All right, everybody. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, X. New episodes release every Monday on every podcast platform and YouTube for you visual folks out there. Best way to support the channel is rate, review, like, and subscribe, all that internet stuff. So if you've done that already, we appreciate it very much. Thank you. And
Also, dude in Belgium, please hit us up.
yeah, if you're that guy in Belgium listening to us, hit us up
on Instagram, whatever.
We
Just
want to chat with
in
you.
the YouTube comments, whatever.
Yeah, come say hi.
Hit me up.
It's everyone.
But just him.
Just come say hi.
Nobody else.
Just him. Just the
Him
Belgian
or her,
guy.
whoever it is.
The guy in Brussels.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the episode for this week. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.